So thanks for coming onto the show. I appreciate it.
Problem, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So you had a big weekend today, or this weekend. So how did everything turn out as far as what you expected, and all that is concerned?
Well, it did not turn out what I expected. I actually wound up placing eighth, which I'm very surprised about, as well as many others. I don't really agree with the judging. I really feel like it was biased, political, typical bodybuilding, stereotypical stuff, and it's heartbreaking. It's really discouraging.
Especially when you put in like so much time and effort and all that
Absolutely,
struggle to get there. Are a
absolutely.
lot of the girls that you competed against, do you regularly compete against them on your other
A few,
shows?
a few of them I have, and I just feel like a lot of it's based on who you know. And
Yeah,
if you're an Olympian, you already get, special treatment as it is.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
it's like it's just not right. It's just not right. But,
So so what do you do? Like in that kind of scenario, what do you do? Because I mean, you would you change your look, or do you just continue going with the same look and then hoping, eventually the placings will, even out?
I've changed my look already, and it's not even an issue with my look. Honestly, each show that I've been jerked in my opinion, it's just been strictly political. Is because of who's there, and the feedback that I've gotten on one or two shows wasn't even feedback about my physique. It was feedback at that the show, the quality of the show. It was Olympians there, and I'm like, that has nothing to do with what I look like.
Right, right. It's so
So
frustrating.
exactly. So it's like I just prepped 8 to 10 weeks for this show, and for you to tell me that Olympians are here and I can't get placed accordingly, that's not cool.
Yeah,
And this is
yeah,
the
yeah.
third time this has happened, and I'm over it.
So what do you think, as far as like your future? Are you going to continue to try to bang out shows and get
Nope,
points, or
nope. I'm done.
what's?
I did 6 shows this year. I did
Hmm.
six. This was number
That's a
six.
lot.
It's a
Yeah,
lot, and I've been prepping since January the 1st. I put my body through a lot.
yeah.
And I got jerked in this year's Olympia. I missed it by one spot and 3 points.
Mm.
Then to turn around and try to do this show and get qualified for next year only to get jerked again. Who wants to keep coming back to that? No, I'm good. You can have it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
done.
So you're done with competing, period? Is that
I'm
what you're
done with
saying?
competing. I'm just going to focus on building my brand. I'm going to focus on personal training, opening up my gym, fitness modeling. I'm
Hmm.
trying to get on a couple of reality shows so I can, get
Hmm.
my name out there.
Yeah,
So I'm focusing on other things right now. Bodybuilding is just it's
sure,
just not it anymore.
sure. But that's funny because, a lot of the more successful people in fitness and bodybuilding are not people that do a whole lot of shows or place that well. Like, I mean, I'm thinking like somebody like Daylin Lynn Bailey, who, competed a few times, won the Olympia, true, but then didn't
Mhm.
compete again, and she's doing great as far as, her
Yeah.
business is concerned and so forth. So yeah,
And I feel
I
like I
mean,
can do
that's
the
how it
same.
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I saw some of the pictures from the show. I thought you looked great. I mean, I
Thank
definitely
you.
don't think you should have deserved eighth. I thought much higher would have been right, but I guess that's kind of how it goes.
It's
It's a
done is
very
done, right?
subjective, yeah, subjective sport. It's whoever you know wiggles the right way, so to speak.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
all the judges have different preferences, so it's kind of hard to tell, it's hard to know what to
Right.
bring. It's just all you know is just bring your best and hope for the best.
Sure, sure, sure. So when did you start like training? Is something that you've done like since you were little, or how did you come about, getting into the sport?
Well, I've always been an athlete. I played basketball. I started when I was 8. I played all through middle school, high school, 1 year college, and then I transitioned into cross country and track. So I've been pretty athletic all my life, and I just kind of wanted to keep up with something. And I knew
Mhm.
that I loved working out. I knew that I liked keeping my body tight, and I said, well, why not try a bodybuilding show? And it really only was supposed to be a bucket list, just one show, and then I was supposed to be
Right.
done. And then I just wound up getting hooked because I loved it, and you know, wound up going pro.
Yeah. When did you go pro? When did you get your pro card?
I actually did my first amateur show August of 2016, and then 10 months later, July 2017, I uh I went pro.
So within 1 year, within 10 months, that's pretty
Within
quick.
10 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
That's
working. I had a goal.
yeah. Yeah. So, did your parents like were they athletes or anything like that, or did you just kind of start that on your own?
My mom, she played basketball and she ran. My dad was really heavy into working out, so he's 6'3", 240 pounds. So
Big guy.
big guy, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like a little junior version of him.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
Um, how was your training for this show? Did you train like is it heavy mostly, or can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah, my training was very strategic. I was really focused on balance. I understood that my last couple stage shots and shows that, my left side was a little bit unbalanced from the right. And I knew that I needed to put some work into that. So my focus was strictly balance, getting my shape more proportioned, and just making sure I come in super conditioned. That I knew coming to the West Coast, the biggest thing over here is conditioning. So those were my two biggest concerns, conditioning and balance. So I did a lot of isolation work, um, a lot of heavy, heavy isolation work on my back, especially. Back was the
Mhm.
biggest project for me.
Well, you look dry. Like I'm looking at one of your pictures right now. You look really lean and dry. So I mean, looks like the conditioning is definitely there. How do you get to that shape? Like, do you keep carbs in all throughout the prep, or do you take them out at some point?
Well, I do carb up throughout my prep, and then toward the end, like the last 3 weeks, I start carb cycling. So I'll
Okay.
take them out
So
for three
what does that
days.
look like? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I
Go
do
ahead. I
three
didn't mean
days
to
on.
interrupt you.
Oh, good. I do 3 days on, 3 days off. I do small refeeds, probably 50 to 60 grams pre and post workout. And then the next day, back to 3 days off. So, and it helps. And I keep up with my fasted cardio. I do a little bit of post cardio, but not too much because I don't want to sacrifice the muscle. So I'm very
Mhm.
strategic and I'm very in tune with my body, and I listen to my body with regards to adding any cardio into my
So
regime.
so do the carbs? Are you like do you gain weight easily, or is it hard for you to gain weight?
It takes time for me to gain weight.
Okay,
It
so
does.
you're one of those. So you're like opposite of what I am. I look at food and I gain weight. So that's
Yeah, I burned everything off. Like right now, you wouldn't know that I had like 5 pancakes this morning, two French toasts. Like
no,
I really
definitely.
ate. So
That's funny. So at this point, you said you're kind of right now. I mean, it's hard to make that decision right after, disappointment. Like, but let's just go with what you said, which you're probably not gonna do another show. So how are you gonna keep yourself, I guess, motivated? You said you're gonna focus on your brand. Is there
yeah,
anything else?
I'm actually a personal trainer, and I do have my own business, Rock Out Fitness LLC. I
Okay.
do personal training, online training, contest prep. I do have a couple athletes under my belt that I'm prepping for shows now. I'm helping them. So I'm just going to put my focus into them, put all my knowledge into them, whatever I can help them with and help them achieve as athletes, as amateur athletes. I'm going to help them and focus on them. And then I want to focus on opening up my gym. That's my ultimate goal, opening up my own gym. I'm also a physical therapist assistant. So I would like to have physical therapy in my gym and massage therapy. So I have some pretty big plans. So that's what I'm just going to put my focus toward.
Yeah. Well, definitely open up some time for you for sure. Because I mean,
Absolutely.
getting prepping
And
for a
money.
show has got to be. Oh yeah, yeah, money. True. My bodybuilding and fitness in general is probably the only sport where you spend more money doing it than getting out of it. It's one of
Absolutely.
those things. But I guess
Absolutely.
people love it. That's why they keep coming back. But because I mean, if you really think about it, as many people as compete, only a few are more or less household names. I mean, the rest is you don't even know who they are, in
Exactly.
reality, which
Hmm.
is why I like to interview people and get their name out there and just people that I find to be interesting. So you're trying to open up a new gym. Like, where are you from? Are you from New Jersey, or are you just based out of it?
I'm just based there. Originally, I am from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That's my hometown.
Okay.
And
Okay.
now I live in Edison. So eventually, my ultimate goal is I want to come to California. I love California.
Yeah.
So, but I do want to start my business in Jersey, kind of get a foundation there before I come out here because it's a little bit different out here and startup costs and things are a little different. So I definitely kind of want to start where I'm at first and then branch off
Yeah.
and maybe franchise out here.
Yeah, coming California is extremely expensive from what I
Yeah.
know. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and we're rising like every year as the costs are going up. I think is New Jersey kind of staying the same, or are you guys raising up in costs too?
We're raising up slightly, but it's not too bad. But I'm pretty sure more is coming soon. It's
Yeah.
just expensive everywhere now.
Yeah. So you have a full is your the physical therapist, is that a full-time job?
Yeah,
So
I'm a
yeah.
physical therapist assistant full time, and then I do personal training at night, online training as well
Right.
too.
You're an anomaly. Like a lot of fitness people don't work.
No,
It's just
I
what
got to keep money in my pocket. As I'm not a sponsored athlete, so in order
right.
for me to compete, I got to pay for it. You know.
Sure, for sure, for sure. So I guess are you when you said that you've got some athletes and some shows coming up? Do you know when those shows are? Like what are they?
Well, they're still trying to actually figure out what show they want to do for 2020. One is going to be doing an NGA show. The other one is doing an NPC show.
Okay,
So I'm just waiting for them to basically pick their show dates, and then we're gonna go ahead and start an official prep date. But they're on off-season diets right now and getting their bodies
sure.
prepared and ready. So that's
So are
their
these
focus.
figure girls? Is that
Yeah,
who? Okay, so something that you're really like familiar with and know how to
exactly.
handle. So are most of your people that you're coaching, are they lifestyle or are they athletes?
It's a combination of both, honestly. Um, a lot of my people are lifestyle,
Hmm.
but I do have a few athletes that they just want to take their body and their situations to the next level, and they come to
Sure.
me for help.
Sure. So lifestyle, let's say somebody comes to you and they just want to, improve their health and look like severely overweight, which is very common, in the United States, but all over the world. So how would you approach that? Like, what kind of plan would you like put them on? I know it's very person specific, but do you have like an idea of how do you handle someone like that?
Absolutely. First thing I do is I try to get to know the person. I try to get to know them in and out so I know how to handle them, how to deal with them, and ways to motivate them when we hit roadblocks. So that's my number one thing. I like to sit down and talk to them first. Then I stress to them that diet is important. So I construct the meal plan first because without that, you're not really doing anything. The diet has to be on point. And then from there, I'll construct all their workouts and I always ask them because I'm in the medical field. I always
Mhm.
like to know if they have any injuries, any, you know, allergies to foods, medication, or any specific medications that they're taking. So if I put them on any supplements, it doesn't conflict with their medications. So I'm a
Sure.
very in-depth kind of trainer because I have that medical background as well too. So I
Yeah.
incorporate all of that.
It's not just bro science. You actually know
No,
what you're doing.
exactly.
Yeah, that's definitely needed.
Yeah.
So you talked about like looking out for injuries for your clients, prepping for this show or just in general in training. Have you had any like injuries that kind of, held you back a little or anything like that that you had to
Oh,
deal with to overcome?
Oh yeah, I've actually had two that I was silently treating by myself. I had bursitis in my hip twice this
Oof.
season,
Wow.
and it caused me not to be able to do cardio and working out on my legs for about 2 to 3 weeks at each time. So if you're in the middle of a prep and let's say you're about 6 weeks out from a show and you're out 3 weeks, I mean
Well,
that could be detrimental.
explain to people that are listening, like what is bursitis, like what and what kind of effect does it have on you?
Well, bursitis basically what it is it's inflammation of the bursa in your hip. You have bursa on the side of your hip that basically stops friction between your hip bone and your skin and your muscle. And when that gets irritated, it causes you not to be able to walk, put weight through that leg. You can't even just swing it, just a light swing to step out of bed. It's excruciating. You can't squat down to sit on the toilet, to sit in a chair. It's
Right.
just really painful. And
Wow.
you have to really sit down and rest it. You can't fight through it.
So what do you do in a situation like that? Because you can't do cardio, you can't
Mm-mm.
do weight. I mean, I assume you probably can't do any kind of leg training at all, or barely any.
Nope.
So what
No
do you,
leg
so
training at all. So I just focused on upper body, and that's where the diet is extremely important because if you know that you're not going to be burning the amount of calories that you normally would, then you need to make sure your diet is on point. And there's no
yeah,
loop, there's no hiccups in it at all. So that's how I actually got through those little bumps in my prep, and it worked out.
yeah, yeah. So I'm sure now like you probably feel even more confident that like anything you can overcome stuff like that pretty easily.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, so how you said you do carb cycling towards the end in a situation where you're injured, but you have to be pinpoint on your diet. Do you change anything with your diet, or you just stick the same way? You go through it the same way because you're
I
not
just go,
moving. Okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
I just go through it the same way. I just again just make sure that I'm not over. There's absolutely no cheats. Make sure I stick to whatever carb. And in some cases, there was one point where my coach kind of lowered it from 50 to 60 grams pre and post to maybe 40 to 50, just to keep things tight.
Mhm.
But for the most part, I stay pretty much the same.
Okay. Who's your coach? You mentioned your coach.
My favorite guy, Mitch Prius from Georgia.
Gotcha. So is it
Wolfpack.
so at this point, are you gonna continue like um having a coaching relationship with him, or since you thinking you're probably not gonna compete, that's probably over with.
He's always gonna be my coach in my heart, so that's just never gonna stop.
Mhm.
As far as him coaching me, he understands that right now, well, he understands that my decision is not to compete at all at this point. I'm done,
Mhm.
and he
Yeah.
respects that, and he agrees because he feels like I'm being jerked around, and I told him that I would love to stay in contact with him, and he can help me with my athletes, and then we can cross ideas for the other amateur
Mhm.
athletes that he has, some of my
Yeah.
teammates. So we're still gonna have a relationship regardless, whether he's coaching me or not.
So is this a conversation that you had prior to this show? So you were basically like, well, if this happens again, then I'm done. Is that kind of
Yeah,
how it went
yeah,
about?
because the second to last show that I did, the fifth show that I did, Linda Murray show, I placed 13th in that show. I didn't agree with that placing either.
Hmm.
Um, but it was what it was, and I at that point I didn't really. I was leery on if I wanted to get back on stage, but then I talked to my coach, and I got an invite to do this current show here, the Legions show,
Hmm.
and my coach said, you know what, let's do this show and let's make it a redemption show. Let's pick yourself up, bounce back, and let's say that you're not quitting, you're not giving up, and you're gonna fight through it. And I'm like, all right, let's do it, and we agreed
Hmm.
to do it, and then this happened again.
Are your looks better, you think, every show? Or are they pretty much the same and you're just getting placed randomly in different places?
I have brought the best physique I've ever brought to stage this past weekend.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
my best look to date.
Right.
Each show I've improved and I've gotten better and better. My placing should have reflected that. And it's
Right.
been very inconsistent.
Has any judge said anything to you this weekend? Have you talked to anybody or no?
Nope, I don't even want to talk to anybody because I know the
Yeah.
feedback is going to be bullshit. Excuse my French, but it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not going to
No.
give me real feedback. So I don't even want to talk.
Right, right. How do you get past that? It's one of those things where it's like, what's the point of even talking if it's not gonna, come to any results? Because sometimes,
Exactly.
sometimes I do see that, and I hear people talking to judges, and they'll say one thing, and I'm thinking, is that really gonna make any difference in the placings?
It, it don't.
And sometimes they'll say, "Oh, well, you have to come in tighter." And I'll look at some of the girls and guys that they tell, and I'm like, "How much tighter can you be?" I mean, you're basically you have no body fat on you. You can't,
Exactly.
but it is. I mean, I guess it is what it is.
The
So
only solid
go
feedback
ahead.
I can honestly say that I've ever gotten from a show was my pro debut.
Hmm.
I'll give them that. I got solid feedback from my pro debut uh, at Tampa Pro August 2018, and they told me that I needed to have my back wider and thicker. Okay, fair enough, and I did just that and came
Yeah,
back 2019 Orlando Europa first show of the year, came in third. So I
yeah,
was I went from 13th to third.
yeah.
So I did
Huge
something
jump.
right.
Yeah, and then after that, it started to not not show like not reflect
Yeah,
what
because
you
then
what you're doing.
I turn around and I go to St. Louis the very next week and I place fifth up against the same girls I just beat.
Right.
And
Doesn't
I
make
came
any
in tighter.
sense.
It don't.
Yeah. Doesn't make,
And then I turn
especially
around
with
2
this.
weeks later and go to Pittsburgh and the same girls again, I came in 13th. It,
Yeah.
it, it
Yeah. It seems like they're rolling dice.
exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah. Are I know you were talking about training and so forth. It got a little off track, but
Yeah.
do you do anything for recovery? Like as far as like saunas, massages, anything like that during your prep?
I do. I actually got a in-room massage while I was here Saturday. It was awesome. Hour and a
Yeah,
half sports massage, and he did a lot of stretching to my hamstrings and my quads. So, and he did a lot of trigger point release treatment on me because I'm all knotted up in my back from training it so hard and trying to build it. So
sure.
he really broke down my trigger points, and he really helped my lat spread this weekend. I really felt the difference in my posing.
Who's your posing coach, or do you just is it the same as your prep coach, or
Yeah,
do you have
yeah.
somebody else?
I just come up with my own routines, and
Okay.
I send him the viz, and he just critiques them.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, do you do posing coaching or no? Not yet.
No, no.
No.
I mean, I give my clients, my current clients, posing coaching, but I don't offer that actual service by
Mm,
itself. No.
sure. Okay. Is that something you think is going to be something in the future like that
It
happening?
could it could be, but I just feel like I'll do the posing aspect when I actually work with you.
I
You
got you.
know, because
Makes
I want
sense.
to get to know the entire client, like body, training, everything. So
Sure. Sure. So, are you gonna what kind of physique are you gonna try to keep now that you're not competing? Are you gonna gain more weight, lose some muscle? Like, what are you thinking?
what I'm thinking is I want to maintain my current physique, but I am going to put some weight on it.
You
So,
are.
naturally my legs and my legs are a lot bigger. So I know most of my weight is going to go to my lower half. I'm usually bottom heavy. So I'm expecting that, but I want to keep it tight and toned and, try to keep the athletic look.
Sure, sure. Well, you kind of have to if you're going to be, making like a living from coaching, fitness, and so forth. One
Exactly. I
thing,
got to look the part, right?
right? You have to look the part. Well, that's one of the worst things that I see sometimes is you'll see coaches, and given they might be great coaches, but it's hard to take them seriously because if they don't look like they work out, then it's hard to,
Exactly.
you know, get anything from them. So. But yeah, so what businesses you said? Can you go ahead and plug every? I know you plugged a couple of things before, but just what are you involved in as far as your brand as a whole?
Well, my brand as a whole is just basically focused on, personal development, just getting your body right and tight, good diet, exercise, just living a healthier lifestyle. And then, like I said, to help current athletes just take their careers and bodies to the next level.
So do you have like contact? You said you had a website, right? Go ahead. What,
Yeah,
what is that website?
my website is www.rockoutfitnessllc.com. I also have an Instagram, which is the exact same name, Rockout Fitness LLC. And my personal IG is ICYUNV ASH.
Okay. And you want people to contact you if they want like coaching, training,
Go
diets,
straight to
anything
my
like
website.
that? Okay,
Yep, they can
perfect.
hit straight to my website and then send emails, and I usually respond within 24 hours.
Awesome. Yeah. So how long you have before you got to get out of California?
I'm waiting for my shuttle as we speak. It should be pulling up in about 5 to 10 minutes or
Yeah.
so.
Okay. Well, it looks like did good on timing. Hey, Ashley, I appreciate you coming on. It's awesome to speak with you. And I know things didn't work out for you in the show, but I'm sure things will work out in the long run. So you take care of yourself, and thank you again.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have
All
a
right.
good one.
Take care. Bye bye.
Alrighty. Bye bye.